Hello, how are you? You staying hydrated? Please do, and please stretch, and make sure that you breathe intentionally. Welcome to this segment of reading, okay? This is the reading fundamental segment, or reading is fundamental, okay? We're going to do a series. It's going to last 30 days. We're going to be as consistent as possible, okay? Today we're going to read 10 pages out of this book, The Mental Game of Trading, a system for solving problems with greed, fear, anger, confidence, and discipline, written by Jared Tendler, MS. I don't know what MS stands for. We'll figure it out later, but we're going to do 10 pages a day. Today is January 5th, so let's get 10 pages out of the way, and this will be our bookmark, just to let us stay on track. And yeah, let's jump into it, okay? We skipped all of the indexes and all that stuff, the table of contents. There was no like foremention or anything like that, so it's just right into the book. So let's see how long it takes to get through 10 pages, okay? Chapter 1, a system to fix mental game problems. A quote by Albert Einstein: "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." Your goal is to make money, but something is getting in your way. You lose money when you shouldn't, or even if you consistently make money, you leave profits on the table. The question is why? For the answer, you'll most likely look at your technical skills first. That's obviously a critical step. You analyze trades, tighten your rules, learn new techniques, develop your system, do more research, and test new strategies. Despite all of that work, the bleeding continues. You try and try again. You try again and again, but you still don't get anywhere because the answer doesn't lie in what you know about trading. The answer comes from the mental and emotional side of the game, your mental game, and you're not effectively working on it. That's not to say trading is all about psychology. It's not. Even a perfect mental game, emotionally balanced, always focused, consistently in the zone, won't make you profitable long term if you don't have an edge in the market. But if you have an edge, yet aren't making what you should, or are struggling with greed, fear, anger, confidence, or discipline, your mental game may be costing you more than you realize. Think about your most costly errors in execution. Do they include any of the following? Forcing mediocre trade setups, hesitating on entries, exiting trades too early, chasing the market price up and down, moving a stop too soon, moving your profit target before it hits, trading yourself out of a good trade. Often when these mistakes occur, you're unable to stop yourself from making them. Your emotions get in the way and they have the power to force your worst impulses. Don't beat yourself up over this. Part of the reason you haven't eliminated your execution errors is that you didn't know what you were up against. Just like trading follows a basic set of rules, so too does the mental game. For example, the part of your brain where you actively make decisions can access only a limited amount of information at any given time. What's more, emotions have the power to reduce and even shut down your decision-making process entirely. If you don't understand these and other rules of the mental game, you can reliably correct your mistakes. You can't. If you don't understand these and other rules of the mental game, you can't reliably correct your mistakes. That's why I like the term mental game, to describe the mental and emotional side of trading. The word game automatically infers rules and strategy for how you improve versus a one-and-done solution. Terms like trading mindset, trading mentality, or trading psychologically all imply something static. As if finding the right advice is all you need to have the perfect mind for trading, this, my friend, is a myth. Many of you have been looking for silver bullets when what you need is a strategy or system. In this book, you'll learn a practical, step-by-step system for correcting the most common emotional issues in trading: greed, fear, anger, overconfidence, and low confidence. These issues are causing the errors in execution you've been unable to stop. I'll not only show you how to solve them, I'll also show you how to address the discipline issues that interfere with your focus, routines, habits, and execution. And I'll highlight some straightforward ways to make lasting progress. The system is the culmination of 15 years of work. clients from around the world at the highest levels of competition in golf, poker, esports, and trading have used this system with tremendous results. What makes it so effective is that the design to find and correct the root of the problem. You can't kill a weed unless you get the roots out. Stomping on it or chopping off what grows above ground only yields a temporary result. This is likely what happens with your most common trading mistake. Whatever you've done hasn't finished the job. To be clear, you're not going to learn how to execute trades, come up with trade ideas, read charts, or recognize fundamentals here. The traders who are successful using my system are already skilled enough in these areas to be clear about where their real problems lie. Throughout the book, you'll read some of their stories. Their experiences may provide some of your most important lessons. At the time of this writing, they were working the system and continuing to make progress every day. This is exactly what I would expect because there's no magic to this system. You're not going to get some secret tip that will eliminate your greedy attempts to make money, your fearful hesitation to enter trades that fit your system, or your angry impulse to make up for loss by quickly taking another trade. What you will get is a system that gives you the foundation to address those problems. A system that enables you to solve current and future mental game problems by giving you a deeper understanding of what causes them in the first place. A system that methodically walks you through the steps to recognize and correct them in a lasting way. You'll learn how to identify the signals that indicate a problem is likely to emerge, much like you get an alert of a much like you get an alert of a potential trade setup that requires your attention. The system is accessible, logical, practical, and repeatable. If you take the time to learn it and do the work that I suggest, you're likely to make significant strides towards improving your mental game. Excuse me. Before we get more deeply into the system and how it works, let's do a little more myth busting around a topic at the heart of it all that's widely misunderstood: emotion. Emotions aren't evil, they're signals to use and learn from. The way many of you have been battling your trading errors is commonly ass backwards. Completely. The way many of you have been battling your trading error is completely ass backwards. What you think is the problem is not actually the problem. If you're going to have any chance at solving issues like greed, fear of losing, or hatred of mistakes, you must first have an accurate understanding of what you're up against. That begins with changing your perspective on the role that emotions play in causing your trading errors. One of the fundamental differences between this book and the advice commonly found in other trading psychology resources is how to view emotion. Conventional wisdom says that emotions are the problem and give advice that mainly focus on reducing, controlling, and releasing emotion. You can certainly make the short-term improvements this way, but these strategies can only take you so far. Why? Because you aren't addressing the real problem. Instead, you're spending time and effort fighting what you think is the problem, the emotion generated from trading. You call emotions irrational, try to trick your mind, or work to rationalize, deny, avoid, ignore, deflect, project, distract, numb, or desensitize them. You might even use healthy options like meditation, yoga, and exercise, among other, less healthy options to blow off steam or release stress from the day. But you're not solving the problem. Or instead of ignoring or rationalizing emotions, you're very aware of them and have created your own solutions that are really just ways of managing them. You exit early to lock up profit and avoid potential blow up if the train turns against you. You stop trading on days your emotions are too high until you get your head on straight. You also may do the following: move a stop to break even, walk away from an active trade so you don't interfere with it, quit a session early to ensure a profitable day, review sticky notes on your monitor before entering a trade, talk to yourself to stay disciplined and motivated, constantly reminding yourself of basic concepts like losses will happen and don't let it affect you, take extended time off from trading. The problem with these workarounds is that you've minimized your profitability as well as your ability to adapt and improve as a trader. Trading smaller, exiting earlier, and booking a profitable day all in an effort to keep your emotions in check, and it's not how you ultimately want to play this game. Yes, they can be good short-term strategies, but they're best used like training wheels. And until you lose the training wheels, your upside potential as a trader is significantly limited. Let's dig in a bit deeper. It's a myth that emotions such as anger, greed, and fear are the problem causing your trading errors. Rather, these emotions are actually signals. This is a critical change in perspective. Don't fight your emotional state. Instead, treat emotions as signals and get curious about what they're trying to tell you. We do this all the time when it comes to physical ailments. And like our emotions, sometimes the real cause is not always obvious. For example, let's say you've been getting headaches at the end of the trading day. At first, you think they're caused by the stress from trading. Family and friends agree with you, but you still get them on the weekend and even after a week-long vacation. You go to the doctor fearing it's something worse, yet everything check it out. You've been taking over-the-counter meds for a few months now, trying to manage your headaches, but you still haven't found the cause. Then, as you finish up your trade journal at the end of your trading day, you notice yourself squinting and deciding to get your eyes checked. Turns out your vision has progressively worsened over the past 6 months, and eye strain is causing your headaches. Change your eyeglass prescription. Problem solved. Headaches weren't the problem. They were a signal, and it was your job to interpret what the signal meant. Similarly, negative emotions are signals pointing you to the problem you're not addressing. If you follow those signals to identify and correct the underlying cause, you automatically stop. Moving your profit target out of a greedy attempt to make a killing, chasing the market from a fear of missing out, overtrading out of anger to make up for losses or mistakes, thinking you can outsmart the market because of overconfidence, sticking with a losing trade too long because your confidence can't handle another loss. Just as you stop taking medication when your headache goes away, you don't need to spend time and energy trying to manage or control these emotions because they stop getting triggered. That's the power of this mental game system. When you identify and solve the real problem, you don't have to fight for control or rely on training wheels for protection. The emotional reactions disappear and you are freed up to focus on trading. Think of your emotions like the indicators you follow in the market. As a trader, you use signals all the time, and based on your level of expertise, you are more or less skilled in leveraging those signals to deploy your edge. In the mental game, negative emotions are signals for the hidden flaws that undermine your trading. For some of you, these hidden flaws cause subtle problems. They're like computer programs running in the background but not open on your desktop. They dull your sense of the market, reduce clarity in your thinking, and slow your reaction time. For others, the hidden problems are the cause of a barrage of error messages and blue screens. You make trades you know you shouldn't, but you can't stop. You stare at a textbook trade but can't pull the trigger. You know you should close, but fear or greed blinds you. You know the right way to react, but you can't stop yourself from overreacting. Regardless of how much these flaws impact your trading, they must be identified and corrected to consistently trade at the level you expect to aspire to. Emotion fuels performance. With all of this focus on how emotion interferes with your performance, it's tempting to write them off as bad. Emotions, however, are key to reaching your peak. They are an essential source of energy to fuel your performance. In this regard, an emotion is neither good or bad. Even emotions typically seen as negative are not always bad. For example, anger can be a phenomenal source of energy. Michael Jordan used anger as motivation, most notably from being cut from his high school basketball team, to become one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Some traders are at their best when they're pissed off. Others when their back is against the wall and under a ton of pressure. Thinking of emotion as being inherently bad doesn't make any sense, and the result proves otherwise. The downside of using anger or fear for optimal performance is that most people lack the ability to control them. Jordan and other elite performers like him have a mastery of their emotions. They have figured out how to maintain the right mixture of emotions, energy, or fuel to consistently perform at the top of their game. In the hands of a novice, anger and fear can be extremely volatile. Having the right mixture of emotions is key, but stability of those emotions counts a lot for the long term. Imagine being on a small boat in choppy seas and trying to board another boat that has pulled alongside. The unpredictable nature of the waves make it difficult, if not impossible, to correctly anticipate when you should jump from one boat to another. That's what it's like trying to get into the zone when your emotions are volatile. You can do it, but the odds are low and big mistakes are likely. On the other hand, when the seas are calm or your emotions are stable, reaching the zone consistently is much easier. Why you need a system. By using my system, you'll learn how to clear out the mental and emotional volatility caused by your underlying performance flaws. What automatically emerges in an intense drive, but with greater stability. You get the benefit of the Jordan-like anger without the turmoil. The process to reach the zone becomes easier and more straightforward, and in the long term, you will enjoy your work more, reduce the odds of burnout, and strengthen your ability to produce higher returns. You'll strengthen your ability to produce higher returns. You can correct all the specific problems covered in this book: greed, fear, anger, overconfidence, lack of confidence, and poor discipline, using the same core strategies. No matter who you are, the basic rule of the mental game are the same. We are all bound by these constraints. When solving any mental game issue, you must work within them. However, you can easily mold the system to your style of trading regardless of your strategy, time frame, trade frequency, or number of markets you trade. It doesn't matter if you trade equities, options, futures, forex, crypto, or bonds, or whether you make 3 trades an hour or 3 trades a month. Once you have a good idea of how the system works, you'll be able to mold it in a way that's optimal for you. You're learning a system that will not only help you fix your current mental game problems, but future ones as well. Using this system will become a skill in itself that enables you to continually refine your mental game when new issues pop up. For instance, a fear of losing money may be the issue you're looking to solve now, while later on, greed or overconfidence might become a problem. As humans, we'll never achieve lasting perfection, especially in an industry as competitive and dynamic as trading. Even though future problems may be less severe, you'll always have something to work on in your mental game, and you can come back to this system again and again. How my system helps with common performance flaws. Helping you to identify and correct the performance flaws that affect your trading is the focus of this book. But what I do really mean by performance flaws. Here are 2 examples: high expectations and confirmation bias. To be clear, high expectations aren't inherently bad. Many successful people have incredibly high expectations of themselves and the people around them, and these expectations have been an important driver of their success. And yet, higher expectations can be like a double-edged sword, causing self-inflicting damage, often subtle, to performance. You may get intensely angry when you fail to meet those expectations, most often after you make a mistake, close out a big losing trade, or fall farther into drawdown or from your equity highs. Or you may get increasingly nervous and resort to comfortable trades with very little risk. For others, it's a nasty cycle where anger turns into fear, which damages confidence, which further weakens the ability to perform, which makes it even harder to achieve your expectations, which leaves you angrier, more anxious, and more down about your prospects. Amazingly, you can often tolerate all that while still performing at a comparatively high level. But the internal chaos and damage that high expectation can inflict make it impossible to realize your potential. Another common performance flaw is confirmation bias. For those who are unfamiliar, confirmation bias basically means you seek out information that confirms your pre-existing belief and ignores or rejects information that opposes the belief. You get married to precision. setup, or sector, but then it falls out of favor and you're slow to respond because of how much money you made. A position immediately validates your entry as it races towards your target, but when it retraces and stops you out, you're quick to re-enter, trying to prove you were right. Or you see another trade making money. Your bias is that you'll definitely make money by following, but instead you end up behind the curve. There are people who believe biases like these can be changed. The best we can do is to be aware of them and try to limit their damage. While that may be true in some cases, clients of mine have made significant improvement by identifying the performance flaws driving their confirmation bias. For example, it can come up from a weakness in confidence. As a trader, you can believe anything you want, but the market dishes out cold truth. Yet traders with this bias will often unknowingly ignore this reality, trying to prove what they believe to be true versus trying to figure out what is actually true in order to protect their confidence. These are two of the many performance flaws that will be discussed throughout the book. You'll learn to find your flaws by using your emotions as signals. Emotions provide data on how we operate, for better or worse, at an unconscious level. They provide information on a host of things, including our underlying belief system, biases, goals, perspective, flaws, ingrained habits, wishes, and illusions. This is important because what happens at the unconscious level has a direct impact on your thoughts, actions, and trading decisions. Now, I'll bet that when some of you see the words unconscious level, you think I'm referring to Freud. I forgot how to say his name. Sigmund Freud. His name is Sigmund Freud. He's a famous psychologist. Or how we need to analyze your childhood or wade into psychobabble type stuff. That's not my style, and that's not required to produce the outcome we're after. The fact is, the unconscious contains everything from simple habits like how to brush your teeth and how to input an order, to beliefs that affect your perception of risk, as well as other performance flaws that are common among people operating in highly intense and competitive industries. As you work through this book, you'll become aware of the flaws, illusions, and bias affecting your trading. Then, through practical and actionable steps, you'll understand how to correct them so they cease to undermine your execution. And we'll stop right there because this part goes into 11, but we just did 10 pages. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back soon for some more, okay? Go get hydrated, go stretch. Make sure you breathe intentionally. You got this.